It has very real implications on the ground and in people's lives.
We need to invest money on the ecosystem.
We need the full and effective participation of indigenous people.
What we need to do is find solutions that work.
Climate change. We are not powerless against it. And in our fight to deal with it, we have found a new ally in nature itself.
There's no time left to lose. Therefore, what we need to do is find solutions that work. And IUCN believes that there's two solutions that nature has which are extremely important and need to be used to their maximum ability. One is REDD+, and the other is ecosystem-based adaptation.
Reducing emissions from deforestation and forest degradation, or REDD, is a global mechanism in discussion that would give financial compensation to developing countries willing and able to reduce deforestation. At the 2008 IUCN Congress in Barcelona, over 250 stakeholders from government ministries to community groups agreed on exactly what role forests can play in the fight to stop climate change. An agreement that led to a more comprehensive, more effective form of REDD.
REDD is being presented as a mechanism to mitigate climate change, but REDD Plus includes conservation of forests, forest sustainable management, and the enhancement of carbon stocks, which means basically restoring forests.
There are concerns, however, particularly among indigenous people, that REDD could lead to land grabs because of the new value put on standing trees.
We also think that the full and effective participation of indigenous peoples is very much needed at this stage. Without their presence, without their input in this process of the UNFCCC, we're not going to have an outcome to make an effective implementation of REDD.
Provided their rights are recognized, indigenous peoples with close ties to the forest stand to benefit from REDD because it will help protect their livelihoods. REDD will also help protect ecosystems from degradation. But to accomplish both of these objectives, REDD must be properly set up.
It is also important for the developed countries that there's a recognition that REDD needs time for its implementation. There's a proposal for implementing REDD in a phased approach, so we need clarification on how those phases will evolve over time, how much time countries need in order to get ready for REDD. So we need to see that happening for Copenhagen.
Beyond mitigation, what also needs to happen at the United Nations Conference on Climate Change in Copenhagen this December is for all to bear in mind that ecosystems can also help adapt to the changes that have already occurred.
IUCN very much hopes on adaptation in Copenhagen. We see a broad framework agreed, which includes provisions, suitable provisions for adaptation for the most vulnerable communities and people, and that includes recognition that the role that ecosystems can play in helping people to adapt to climate change.
At the upcoming conference on climate change in Copenhagen, it will be crucial for the world to react to one of the biggest threats of our time.
There's a few key elements that must not be forgotten in Copenhagen. The first one is that the poor and most vulnerable will need assistance in being able to adapt to the impacts of climate change that are already underway and that they're already facing. There's a need for industrialized countries to reduce their emissions and set targets for that. And there needs to be finance and technology in place so that developing countries can both adapt and mitigate to the impacts of climate change.
Nature offers solutions to the climate change crisis. They are realistic and they are at hand, especially for the most vulnerable in developing countries. What we need to do is to use them now. It's urgent.